Welcome to our first episode of Gear Talks. Today we're at Gradient in New York, and we heard they have a really awesome studio, but also a really cool looking flyback. So let's go check it out. Hey Corey.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, doing good.
Yeah, we're at Gradient. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
Yeah, so Gradient is a experiential marketing company. We do a lot of events from the IRL side to live stream, and then I am the head of live and studios here.
All right, cool. And what's your favorite corner in the facility?
Let's see. Maybe we do favorite piece of gear, which I have set up right here, which is our mobile fly pack.
Yeah.
So I can show you this here.
Nice.
So this is a piece of gear that we built on our own that has essentially one-stop shop here for really quick, easy live stream productions. And you can see we have it branded with a nice Gradient logo on the front.
Yeah, I saw.
But you know, this opens up here, and inside, you know, we have a bunch of equipment that's stacked in here, including some new tech mini TriCaster here, as well as NDI converters, Ethernet switch. So the idea being that, you know, if we have a production, you know, we're able to close this up as, you know, one full shippable unit, and then open it up, and then really be able to have this as a mobile control room. So we have our keyboard here, but then since it has a switch in here, you know, we're able to plug cameras into it. So usually we'll have like a PTZ camera controller here, another monitor, and then it also has, you know, storage.
Like what's behind
yeah,
that one?
there's like little, you know, there's like a little storage bin behind here. So the idea is that, you know, this is fully built with everything you need. So if we're just doing a production needs to be a little bit more turnkey, we can just roll up with this, unpack it, and then do it really, really simply. Yeah, so this just rolls around like that. So you can see here, we have, yeah, so these are all of your various hook-ins here for XLRs, BNCs, and then we have this power cord, and there's a power station inside the unit that helps keep it safe from any type of electrical outages, so and it just rolls away.
I can see why.
Yeah.
It does. All right, and can we roll to your favorite corner?
Yeah.
Is that your
studio.
desk?
No, just
Could
studio.
be.
Which, yeah.
An air
We have
sign
our
here.
studio in here. Yep.
Okay.
Well, we're on air with you, so.
We sure are.
And we'll come through here.
Awesome.
This is our control room here. So this is definitely my favorite area of our office.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at Gradient, we do like a lot of live productions. But then what's great about this facility here is that, you know, we could have a really large production on site somewhere, but we could still use this facility to operate everything. And then that way it's a lot cheaper and a lot more turnkey for the client. So instead of having to like build a full control room for like a really large live production, right? Really all we have to do is get cameras and audio on location and then use this facility.
Can you tell me a bit more about the gear you have here? Like I see an Allen and Heath panel.
Yeah, we can open this guy up. So this is one of our, this is just one of our server racks here. So here we have, you know, a bunch of Ethernet switches and routers here. We have a TriCaster, but then we also have these live view units. We actually have 4 of these. So we have the ability to bring in 16 remote feeds from wherever it is.
Okay. And then audio
Yeah,
here.
we have
Allen
audio
and
here.
Heath. Why do you use this one?
This is great just because we don't have a ton of physical XLR connections. We use Dante, which is it's a digital protocol for audio. It sends XLR signals over Ethernet. So for us, this is great. It's got a Dante card in the back, and then we do everything on this screen via Dante, you know, bringing in remote cameras, doing that. So then this is just that hub, which is really great for that. And then we do a lot of, so you can see here, we do a lot of 3D world production, which could be used for a sales stunt. It could even be used for investor conferences, but this all works with XR tech or also just regular green screen. Then we bring it in here via this TriCaster, which we have we specifically spec'd out this unit to be able to do some of this green screen work.
All right. And then here you mentioned Dante. Is that your favorite audio, like your favorite thing in audio?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I forget when it came out, but it's completely streamlined the way I do everything with audio. I feel like traditionally the way, at least on like the facility side of things, to do anything with audio is everything is XLR based. You know, if I have 50 microphones, that's 50 XLR cables, right? And then if I have another audio board and I want to interconnect them, you know, that's another 50 XLR cables, right? It's one-to-one in that way. I mean, there are other ways to do it, but you know, Dante enables it so that I can plug all of those microphones in once, and then anything from there is just one Ethernet cord. And I can endlessly, you know, I can have a microphone go to 10 different audio boards all at the same time, right? It's just like, it's endlessly flexible in that way. So much so sometimes because you really have to like pre-design it all. But that way I'm not so reliant on those physical cables all the time.
Yeah, less cables that you can lose.
Or less cables that have to be run and set up and purchased.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That too.
You know.
All right. So that's for audio. Do you also have a favorite camera, for instance?
Yeah, I think they're actually set back here. I have the two Sony FX6 cameras.
The Cine line.
Yeah. So these ones I like a bunch. These cameras right here. It is a bit dark in here, but
we can go around the table. I will not touch the camera.
No, so yeah, I really like this camera. I mean, I do have, you know, cameras that like if I'm personally shooting, I prefer more, but this is really great because it's like, it's got such a compact profile, but it is still able to get really high quality footage. It's very ergonomic in that way, where I can just, you know, easily do a shoot, and it's not that heavy, which is great as well.
Okay, and would you rather have Sony than Canon, for instance?
It depends when you ask me that question. I think now, I also really like Panasonic cameras.
Okay.
So we have 3 Panasonic cameras in the studio. They're PTZ cameras. I've started to really like some of the cinema cameras that Panasonic has been coming out with. The EVA line is really great. I think that Canon had a really great lead, you know, in the market when it came out with like the C100 and the C300 the first time. I mean, you just look at any, you know, any type of new media company, you know, everyone has those old C100s, those C300s. But I find now that it's a little bit lacking and also a little bit expensive. So like when I'm just at a base level looking at statistics, right? And I look from one to one, it's like, this does more and it's cheaper, right? So like I used to be all Canon, and in previous facilities, you know, we had C200s, C300s, C100s, like everything across the line, 5Ds, Rebels, like the whole shebang. Yeah, the whole shebang. But I think that just as time has gone along, I've kind of like ventured from that a bit, as it just like financially it just doesn't make as much sense on paper.
And do you have an opinion about Blackmagic cameras at all? Because they're also like lower budget.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get attacked for this, but
yes, for sure.
Yes, I will for sure. But I feel like the common phrase for that is black tragic.
Okay.
Where it's really easy to fail. Like, maybe not necessarily the camera end, but a lot of the studio-based stuff. So like the routers, they're prone to failure. So I try to stick away from Blackmagic, but you can see all of these are Blackmagic. So Blackmagic does make a lot of great things. These are the scopes here. I mean, we also have a web presenter, which is a way for us to be able to turn SDI cameras into something on a Zoom feed. So that web presenter is wonderful. Just to completely contradict myself for a second.
But they have their good parts, and like they're really good at this, but then maybe not when it comes to.
Yeah, I think like with cinema cameras, I stick more to, you know, I mean, if I'm really doing a shoot, it'd be red or something like that.
Red, RE.
Alexa, RE. And then more of that, you know, level just below that. Panasonic, I think, just under that. Like, you know, you have your high-end cinema, and then you have your step just below that. That Panasonic line is great.
All right. And what about lenses? Do you have like your favorite lens? 50 millimeter, I don't know. Like, is there something that you're like, oh, this one?
Lenses are like paintbrushes. You know what I mean? It's like, it's whatever's best for whatever the
project.
Yeah.
The results
I feel like
you
this.
Go for.
I mean, it's like hues of paintbrushes. There's just like so many, and they all have different applications.
But you like Sony lenses?
Yeah.
All right. What about favorite light? You have a favorite piece of light?
I have been liking. I mean, obviously, I love Kino Flows and the Kino brand, but we also have
really nice.
A couple of lights here in studio that I could show you. They're not the most high-end lights, but I think
they do the work.
Yeah,
they get the work done.
They get the work done. So it's these up here. It's the Astras, which are very nice lights. And we also have these up here.
iPads.
Yeah, it's all on
nice.
an app. And I think that, you know, in other facilities, like I would have a full lighting board, right? But this is a smaller green screen room that we'll use for, you know, CEO stand-ups or for like more of a metaverse production. So it's really easy to be able to just walk in, do some quick, you know, adjustments, you know, make sure that the f-stop is right, and just be able to do all of that, you know, really easily from an iPad app. Which I never thought I'd be saying, but
you can also change the colors, RGB.
RGB. You know, I can change the color temperature of that.
Turn it into like a nice pink.
Yes, yeah.
Let's go for pink.
But I can come in here. You know, I can, you know, make this brighter.
Like daylight and.
Yep. You know, change that color, especially like the hue of it here. You know, tungsten, daylight. So really kind of just easy to come here, do some quick, fine adjustments.
Okay, and I see the Panasonics here. Those are the cameras you were talking about?
Yeah, these are Panasonic's 4K PTZ line. I really enjoy these, specifically for more metaverse-based productions. What's really cool about these PTZ cameras is that they just kind of out of the box are compatible with a lot of 3D applications like Brainstorm. A lot of times, if we're doing like a metaverse production, whether it's here in our facility or if we're, you know, at a much more grandiose studio, you'll need to have some form of separate camera tracking system. So Moses has a system where, you know, you set up tracking dots, you know, you plug that in with the camera. It's great, but it's also really expensive and labor intensive. So these cameras here specifically, because they're PTZs, they naturally already have that tracking information. Because I need to be able to have, you know, a remote camera controlled joystick to be able to say forward, back, zoom in, zoom out, focus. So it already, like innately, it has to pass that information. So it winds up just being like great out of the box for those types of productions. So, you know, if I want to zoom this camera in, right, it would zoom in this 3D scene that you have here. So you can see how we're just like standing here and our bodies are cut off because we're not on the green screen.
Yes.
But yeah, so that it's kind of one-to-one. So when I control this camera, it also winds up affecting the virtual world, which is really great. Yeah.
And would you rather have long battery life or a good lens? You can only choose one.
Good lens.
Good lens.
I could always have someone change the battery out.
That is true.
I could always hire someone to change the battery.
True.
or I could wear, I could set up a V-mount battery, and then my back will be angry at me later, but yeah.
And would you go straight to bed after a project, or would you go out for a drink?
Oh, I'm in bed.
Yes.
I'm curling up in bed. I'm just like, oh, my back hurts. Yeah, I'm going straight to bed.
Yeah, so will I after this.
Yeah. All of my energy is focused on production.
Yeah, like all
and
your
then
brain.
It's just like,
yes.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm on, and then I'm off.
What's a piece of gear that you would never ever buy again? Like, oof, it keeps on breaking down, and it's just not worth the investment.
Yeah, I feel like any piece of equipment that you don't plan on actively using or selling is a piece of equipment to not buy. Which is like, it feels like a really radical statement for like someone who like is in a studio all the time and like manages equipment and is very technical. But I feel like a lot of times it's really easy to chase the shiny things, right? And then purchase said shiny things and then be stuck with said shiny things. So I think that basically anything that has no reason for you to have on a consistent basis. Probe lenses, right, are like things that have very niche applications. Anytime that it feels a little bit too niche, or like you're not actively going to sell it, or if you're a freelancer and you're not actively going to use it, then just don't get it. It's better just to rent it at that point.
Right. And what would your next purchase be?
I think for Gradient, investing more in live view, high vision also has a bunch of systems, but for more, and this is like so technical, it's not like, it's like, red camera, I'll take another red camera. But high vision and live view, they make a bunch of really great systems for point-to-point system connection, meaning that the ability to have cameras in one place and a facility in another place, just in terms of like ROI, it's so much easier to have one control room that you can always rely on for wherever your production winds up being. So we do have a bunch of partnerships with other physical production spaces. So, we're also collaborating with their IT teams to stack equipment in their facilities. So when they want to sell live productions, we can easily be a control room solution. So then they don't have to build a full control room. So a client comes to them, they want to do some type of live production in their facility. We already have something stacked in their rack to then be able to push that signal from where it is to where we are, which winds up making everything cheaper. It winds up making everything a lot more simple when you have that like pre-existing relationships. So it's really just that infrastructure between different facilities. I think is something that we're looking at.
All right. What piece of gear are you really dreaming of? Like, one day I want to have that, or if I would have all the money in the world, that's the thing I'm going for.
California King mattress.
Yes.
Just on the, just like on the prospect of sleep here, right? Yeah, just a really large bed. I think that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.